Thank you for your interest in Northside ISD and the redistricting process for our Board of Trustees single-member districts. In this presentation, you will receive information about what redistricting is, Northside's governance structure, requirements for redistricting and what occurs after the process is completed, and how to provide feedback to the Northside ISD Board of Trustees. You will also see a current map of Northside's single-member districts and a proposed map. To begin, let's discuss the basics. Redistricting is the process by which the geographic boundaries of elective districts, such as school board single-member districts, are periodically redrawn in response to changes in population. Population data is derived from the United States Census, which counts every resident in the nation every 10 years as mandated by the U.S. Constitution. Before we take a closer look at redistricting, let's review Northside's governance structure. Northside is governed by a board of trustees consisting of 7 members who are elected to 4-year terms by voters in their single-member districts. Northside trustee elections are held in May of odd-numbered years. Why is Northside going through a redistricting process? Texas Education Code requires that a school board redivide its single-member districts if census data indicates that the population of the most populous district exceeds the population of the least populous district by more than 10%. The 2020 U.S. Census indicated a 77.5% population differential between our most and least populated single-member districts, meaning Northside must redivide the districts to bring the differential back to 10% or less. The last time Northside went through redistricting was over 10 years ago in response to the 2010 U.S. Census. Because redistricting happens so infrequently, it's likely that some community members and Northside families will have questions about the process. Common questions include, does this mean that some of Northside students will no longer live within Northside boundaries? And will this change the school my child goes to? The outermost boundaries of Northside are not changing at all, and all Northside households will remain within the school district. Likewise, redistricting has no impact on school attendance zones. Now that we know why Northside must go through redistricting, let's discuss the requirements for doing so. Single-member districts must be drawn with no more than a 10% variance in populations. They must be as compact and contiguous as is practicable, and changes made must be in compliance with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. When possible, additional criteria to be considered includes using easily identifiable boundaries, preserving incumbent constituency relations, and maintaining communities of interest. In reviewing the census data, we see that the greatest variance in population comes from single-member districts 3 and 4. Notice that total populations vary widely across the current single-member districts. These variances serve as our starting point for redistricting considerations. Northside staff worked alongside a demographer to develop a proposed map that addresses these variances. Let's take a look at the proposal. In this side-by-side comparison of the current map next to the proposed map, it might appear that not much has changed. In fact, the process for developing the proposed map included efforts to preserve existing single-member district boundaries where possible. This is why the two maps look fairly similar. For ease of viewing, we will now examine the proposed map with an overlay of the current boundaries to get a closer look at the changes. The multicolored regions display the proposed single-member districts, and the black lines show the current boundaries. Here we see that District 4 was rebalanced to account for its rapidly growing population, and multiple districts are shown with easily identifiable boundaries running along Loop 1604. Small municipalities maintained within single-member districts where possible. Existing boundaries maintained where possible. Now that we have a proposed map, let's review the numbers. Under the proposed map, the total populations of each single-member district fall within a much smaller range than what we saw under the current map. Most importantly, the differential between the most and least populated districts drops from 77.5% to 6.7%, bringing us well within the 10% requirement. With a proposed map that meets the requirements, What's next? The Northside Board of Trustees has chosen to seek community input on the proposal. After reviewing input, the board will consider any final adjustments and anticipates adopting a new map at the September 27, 2022 board meeting. Not later than 30 days after adoption, Northside must notify the voter registrar of the county in which the area subject to change is located. Note that while Northside includes portions of Bandera, Bexar, and Medina counties, the proposed map includes changes only within Bexar County. The May 6, 2023 election will be the first to incorporate the new map. Northside trustee seats for single-member districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 are on the ballot. Information about the new map will be communicated via the district website and social media. Remember that redistricting will not change the outermost boundary of Northside, and all Northside households will remain within the school district. Redistricting does not impact school attendance zones in any way, and redistricting is not a choice. It is a requirement based on census data. As mentioned previously, the Northside Board of Trustees has chosen to seek community input on the proposed map. While not a requirement, Northside trustees feel that hosting community meetings on redistricting is an important component of cultivating informed communities and ensuring that every voice is heard. If you would like to provide feedback on the proposed map, please consider attending one of 2 community meetings or submit your thoughts via email to info@nisd.net. The first community meeting will be held at the Northside Activity Center, just off Loop 410 in Calabria Road, on Thursday, September 15th at 6 p.m. The second community meeting will be held in the Stinson Middle School cafeteria on Tuesday, September 20th at 6 p.m. Information collected during the community meetings will be provided to the Northside Board of Trustees for their review and consideration. We hope that you have found this presentation to be helpful. To review this information and more, please visit nisd.net/board/redistricting. Thank you for your interest in Northside ISD and the redistricting process for our Board of Trustees single-member districts.